If I breathe you in, swallow down your jagged sin, let it drown inside my veins, the sweetest poison I could take. You make it an art, the way that you scar with every word. But before we reach the end, strip me down again. Come and get it one more time. Oh, if you wanna lose your mind. Oh, come and get it one more time. Oh, if you wanna lose your mind. Oh, come and get it. Come and get it. Come and get it.
everybody, and welcome to NGS Season 11! It has been way too long. I'm gonna go ahead and turn myself down a little bit because I was bouncing around the music that was apparently too loud for everybody, so we should be alright. Let me know if things are still on the louder side, and I will work with it. Again, this is a completely new setup. I had overhauled my computer and may or may not have backed up my settings. So yeah, welcome. This is, as I said, NGS 11, specifically Division B North. And it looks like we have quite the activity in chat already. This is great. This is great. This is great. I'm stoked. It looks like everybody's actually already ready on time for once. Again, this is the new setup, and it does look like we are losing some quality, so please bear with it. And yeah. Let's go ahead and hop into the match. I do want to quickly double check that people I have are correct. Does not look like I have time to do that, though, as we are now off and into the draft. So welcome! As far as I know, this is the 4th or 5th match of NGS entirely, which I'm very happy for. Hey, Mongoose! How's it going, man? It's been too long. Johanna ban right out of the gate. Pretty standard ban at all divisions. Unfortunately, she's just been way too strong. I do not go by Chad Donis. Nope, I am not. I refuse. I am no Chad. I am a cripple. Anyway. Yeah, Johanna, still pretty solid ban, especially for a map like BOE. There's just too much territory control that she can bring. The Li Ming ban following up very quickly. I'm not going to bother with the heroes aspect of Soothsayer for the time being. Still not used to it. I was going to, but we'll play with that next time. I'm too out of practice. Diablo and Chromie. Now, Diablo I can see. There's a lot of walls that are very easy. Zul Jin this early. Now, the question is that pick gonna be punished hardcore?
I stand ready.
I am curious about the Chromie ban. I don't know if that's a target ban, or if there's something changed in the meta that I've not been informed of. But we will definitely have to see. Vala Brightwing. That to me looks very deliberate. It looks like they're either trying to stop something deliberately or start something deliberately. I'm not sure which, but we'll definitely see. Morgana's ETC, that's a lot of CC to keep people off of the Zul'jin. Not a whole lot of damage. ETC can offlane, but neither of them have a ton of wave clear. So that'll be very interesting to see how they handle it in practice. I'm curious what this is. Stukov. There are some nasty combos that can happen. I am not Chadonis. I am a scrawny, tiny person. You see these arms. You can see my bones. Actually, the lighting actually kind of beefs me up a little bit. Thanks for the heads up. Like I said, still new setup, so there's going to be some sound issues and stuff like that. That should fix it, though. May and the May ban I can definitely see, especially with what they're currently working with. May could seriously cause some issues.
Ready for action.
Thrall Murden, that's a lot of damage coming out on the left side so far. Tyrande can't go wrong on this map. Also solid follow-up to ETC. Tassadar. So that's a lot of physical. Zul'jin, Mal'Ganis, Tyrande, Tassadar, they're all physically focused heroes. Into a Murden, no less. So I'm very, very curious. How are they going to deal with... Like, that Murden's not going to die. Not with all that physical buff. Gotta pick something else that can answer physical
For the
really well.
Nexus.
Orphea. Now that's very solid. She can deal with this CC with her mobility, because all of it is telegraphed. And she provides a lot of poke, which Tyrande can't keep up with. This is a lot of poke on the left side here. And Tyrande just can't keep up with that. On the other hand, there's self-heals all down the right list. I'm very, very curious to see how things play out. That was not the theme that it was supposed to be, but okay. I'll, issues. Let's see if I can change it quickly. Select. Ha! Fixed. But the maps aren't showing up. Because I need to press the update button. Not used to Soothsayer. Thank you for dealing with my ineptitude so far. But we have a game to cast. True. Tassadar is not necessarily physical. Anyway.
The battle begins in
music.
10 seconds.
But we will... Oh, got a pause already. Anyway, for the left side, we have Lord Fable on Brightwing. Captain Wedge on... I don't remember who everybody ended up on. I feel like we'll see a very dead Vala. It's very possible. We see Wild Carde on Thrall. See Captain Wedge on, I believe that's Murden. Goliath on the Vala. A fish on the Orphea. It's hard to tell. They're all clumped up there. No, he doesn't have a self-heal baseline, but he can talent into it. Anyway, for the right side, we have... Is that an A or an O? Moha on Tassadar. Amador on Tyrande. Corsair on ETC, already going in. Save on Zul'jin. And Captain Voigir on Mal'Ganis. Already a lot of aggression coming out, which does make sense. There's a very, very hard engage on this right side. And they're already stacking up some of these early game quests to try and build themselves into the late game. Both sides are pretty quest heavy though, so we're gonna likely see a fair bit of aggression from both sides over the course of this fight. So it does look like we're going to see the Hungry Arrow build for Vala. Pretty standard for this map. A Q build on Orphea. I've not seen Q build Orphea in competitive in quite a long time. I don't know if they buffed it or not. I just always found it far too unreliable for such a competitive scene. You can also see Recklessness. Everything's pretty standard here. Already stacking up that Lunar Blaze for Tyrande though. Each of those stacks is going to increase that damage. And it doesn't take many stacks for that to become a very deadly stun. You're already seeing the Z come out for the Brightwing to try and get up. Already seeing Polymorph build from the Brightwing, so we're going to see a lot of silences coming out onto the enemy team, preventing them to do stuff. Like you can see there, who just could not stay alive in that scenario. Left team already going for the camp. This is about the timing that you'd want to do that. We've got quite a bit of camp clear, so they may have been a tad early, honestly. But we will definitely see. Captain Wedge, though, getting a little killed by that camp. Tassadar is already out of mana. probably should either back or sit for the coming fight. But we'll have to see. So we do see the basically full auto attack build from the Tassadar coming out. Potentially already an invade, and there it is. Captain Wedge can survive on that point for quite a while, but he doesn't need to, as Tyrande goes down and the camp is stolen. I'll turn it down. Thanks for letting me know. Oh yeah, no, they're way loud. I don't know why they're coming through so loud. I'm sorry. Either way, we see a solid start from the left team, which also wins the race as well as a little bit of the map. They did lose a little bit of soak here. That camp didn't get a whole lot of value, but the value that they got is the fact that it's not pushing against them. If you look down here, all of this value was from that camp. A fish can probably get out of there. No, but she can definitely trade and make it a punishing gank. Getting a trade in an unfavorable fight like that is no easy task, and it guaranteed the Immortal for their side. So they've already got this push down in the bot lane with no wall and nowhere to hide. Meanwhile, this top lane is going to get smacked hard, and there's not a whole lot they can do about it. Already a solid engage coming out from the blue team, but just no one to really follow up on it. You feel like Thrall can bully Mal'Ganis? Oh yeah. He can poke out Mal'Ganis far more than Mal'Ganis can heal, and that'll lead to an easy bully. It's just a matter of how he plays. Like I said earlier, there goes the front wall already going down. A dry stun coming out, which I'm very surprised by with all of this setup CC from the other team. Corsair was very deep there, but somehow manages to get out. And it looks like the Immortal is only going to get half a fort here. And the left team is just going to back out, not wanting to die for nothing, frankly. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, just like we were talking about, there's the Thrall poking out the Mal'Ganis, who, yeah, can heal quite a bit, but Thrall has more healing than Mal'Ganis has damage, and more damage than Mal'Ganis has healing. Orphea did get caught out in the top lane, unable to trade this time, just playing a tad too aggressive and being punished for it way more than she'd probably like to. Gotta back up a little bit with how much CC potential this enemy team has. Do like the fact that they were able to poke on that camp, not really wasting too many resources or having too many issues. Stun combo coming out onto Wedge. The armor reduction almost killed him, but it was just a little bit too much for him to dwarf toss out of there. With that stagger, this is gonna be more than a significant push coming out from the Yellow Owls onto this top fort. Probably not enough to equalize it, as there's plenty of anti-siege with that Orphea and Brightwing. But still, it's a push nonetheless. Maybe they get this front wall, I'm not 100% sure. At the very least, they get some free stacks. However, in the bot lane, Thrall is still bullying the Mal'Ganis, and as such, we are seeing an XP disparity with the left team, even with less kills, winning the race to 10. But without Brightwing, they really can't jump straight into a fight here. Vala being caught very out, she needs to get to a safe position. Tassadar, though, was just a little bit too much more out. Big sleep followed by a big stun. That's a lot of damage and a lot of CC onto the front line. No one able to get the Vala off. Brightwing does rejoin the fight, and does look like they managed to trade 1 for 1, but this is still very much anyone's fight. Thrall trying to poke and stay alive. The 10s are out. We did see a few of them popped in that fight. Nothing too major, but definitely some of them. However, Mal'Ganis being a little too aggressive and not really able to get out of there, but he is able to trade for the Thrall and almost the Brightwing, forcing her to use one of those charges of her Blink heal. Tyrande, though, getting a tad too aggressive, trying to fight healer on healer, completely ignoring the Eldritch Witch in the bushes. However, even though this fight is definitely going in the side of Couch for the most part, they are losing the race. This is on their Immortal, so more damage is going on to their Immortal, but they are slowly catching up, now starting to take the lead, but Vala is completely alone and completely dead, being the only one on the enemy Immortal. It puts them in a very difficult position as she is a lot of their race. And there goes the, I forget what it's called, Carrion Swarm, that one, to try and zone out the enemy team. This match is a bloodbath. That's an understatement. Keep in mind, though, both teams have a combo-based healer instead of a throughput-based healer. So there's not a whole lot of flat healing, which means most, if not all, damage is permanent right now, leading to a huge issue in these longer fights, as evidenced by the fact that the team that was losing the fights managed to get the Immortal. Hopefully, though, Thrall can keep the XP and pressure even, keeping Mal'Ganis busy, but we will definitely have to wait and see. Well, the other question is whether or not they can safely burn this Immortal, or if they'll get comboed by the ETC Tyrande combo. Has been causing them more than a little bit of issues for a little while now. Trying to stay safe, Crushing Jaws goes out, finding no one. Mal'Ganis does go down in the top lane. Don't think he's going to be able to take a fort by himself. But the bottom team is not backing down, so this may be a fort for fort trade, transitioning the bloodbath from a hero bloodbath into a structure bloodbath. Either way, this is a very aggressive match, and it does look like we're going to get a fort for fort trade. Almost. If only he threw one Chain Lightning on there. One Chain Lightning and that fort would have been gone. Big stun stopping the ETC slide. That's going to cause some issues. There's the throughput ult to try and keep ETC alive, but it's not really going to be enough. Orphea does win onto the camp, and ETC is forced... Tassadar's forced to retreat. ETC is forced to die. Unfortunately, Mal'Ganis is catching up top lane. Thrall looked like he was coming down for the fight, but it wasn't really needed, and as such, he might have lost a little bit of soak. However, they are still winning the race to 16. Does look like Wedge wants to finish that fort, and he does so. Now spawning periodic catapults in the opposing lane. So it looks like the lanes are actually opposite of what normally happens on this map, thanks to those bruiser camps. But now, if the blue team can steal that bruiser camp, this might be a very messy fight. No one's where they want to be on the Couch side. Crushing Jaws does disrupt the back lane. Lots of damage going out on everyone. No one's really finding their target until finally Tassadar gets comboed. Carrion Swarm keeping the Mal'Ganis up, but there's a lot of permanent damage already out. And it does not look like there's any real burst heals on for either of the healers right now based on their playstyle. Mosh Pit does come out, interrupted almost immediately by the Vala. Beautifully done. Captain Wedge, though, dropping very quickly, using that second wind to try and heal up. ETC, though, is very healthy. Mal'Ganis, not so much. And we're seeing the exact opposite of what happened in the last Immortal phase. The Immortal is being won by the team that is losing the fights. Though again, that is quickly turning around, but they can't just steal the one person that is on their Immortal like the opposing team did to them. Both teams are adjusting to the mistakes, even of the opposing teams mid-game, it almost seems. Though there is a lot of macro pressure that has to be dealt with by the right team, and it looks like they may be willing to give this Immortal. That at the very least gave halftime. This gives them a few free seconds to clear up the camps. but they somehow have to manage. Oh, Mal'Ganis is completely alone. Carrion Swarm on CD. Apophis, though, is the one that goes down. Vala follows shortly after. Unfortunately, the team was just a little too close, meaning that Mal'Ganis gank did not play out. The only two people to survive appear to be Brightwing and Muradin, but that may not be the case. Muradin jumping over the wall, trying to stay alive, but Avatar does end, and that is the Muradin dead, and the only one alive is Brightwing, quietly healing nobody. The bloodbath continues, and the Immortal is picked up. For the Owls, leading to more than a little bit of pressure to equalize the pressure that Couch tried so desperately hard to pick up. Now, this is the third Immortal. They are pushing with 16s. This is a guaranteed fort and likely a keep, unless Couch can somehow manage to pull off a fight. Does not look like they're planning on pulling off a fight quite yet, especially since Muradin's behind, but Mal'Ganis is trying to go in. Apophis already falling to about half health, but Mal'Ganis gets blown up thanks to the armor reduction from the fort. This might save them their keep. Corsair does not have enough health to go in, trying to just heal himself up and get a little bit of healing from his healer. But the poke is gonna keep him back. He's not quite willing to go in yet. And they decide to back off. Thrall already soaking the other lane. Both sides now have 16s. Thrall nimbly hearing the hearing the sounds from the fog of war and retreating momentarily for his team to come back him up. Now, this map was chosen by Duran's Couch, and both sides are definitely brawlers, but Duran's Couch has the stronger macro so far, which makes me wonder why they chose this map, aside from the fact that they didn't know they were going up against fellow brawlers. To be fair, the Yellow Owls are a brand new team, so they really had to go into this blind. And it does seem like the Owls are the better brawlers, but the weaker macro. We'll have to see how that changes the future games. Orphea does get dropped very quickly, even with her jaws out to try and self-peel. Carrion Swarm trying to keep Mal'Ganis healthy and finish off Thrall. Nice stun to slow him down, but Thrall will still go down. Mosh Pit stopping both the frontliners. Brightwing not so lucky to get out this time. Vala trying to poke, but there's not a whole lot she can do against an entire enemy team. And with this much siege, we could potentially be seeing the end of the game for the Yellow Owls if they keep up this aggression and don't take too much damage due to this Vala and keep. I do say that, and there are 3 people at half health. They decide to go the safer route and not finish the game. But we will have to see if that was wisdom or if that was a mistake. Time can only tell. Personally, I would have probably pushed onto Core. They had a lot of time. However, this is probably going to be a free Immortal pushing onto an already damaged keep. It could be a win either way, honestly. Couch is not ready to give up, though, getting in a very defensive position and already starting to position for the attack to try and end this. We are seeing pings on the red Immortal. Vala the first to enter. Stun goes out into the bush to try and slow them down. As you can see with that quest completed, that was about 20% of her health with 1 stun, and that's not a long cooldown. The Immortal's already going down, but so are the blue team. Big stun completely shutting down the Orphea's ability to heal herself, and she goes down very quickly. Brightwing trying to keep her team alive, but it's not going to help as Thrall was way too far to get any amount of help from the Brightwing. She does not have enough health herself to do anything aggressive, and this blue Immortal is dropping very quickly. with this top lane already pushed up, the front wall basically already gone, and this aggressive positioning by the red team, we are very likely going to see the end here. Mal'Ganis, though, already tanking quite a few shots, dropping him already to about half health. The keep goes down before... Yeah, keep goes down before the Immortal even sets foot. Brightwing goes down as well. This is not looking good. Vala trying to stay alive, positioned very aggressively, just trying to get some poke, but that core is dropping at an astonishing rate. Vala goes down, Tazdingo is triggered. Sunder to just try and slow down this assault, but this game is already over, and Yellow Owls takes game 1. And I'm pressing Alt Caps instead of Alt Tab. That was definitely a bloodbath. Bloodbath would be an understatement. It was neck and neck there for a while, though. However, Yellow Owls does have the advantage going into game 2. Whoops. Did not mean to show the lobby already. Picked by... There we go. Got a lot of people cheering in chat for both sides. I'm stoked. This is gonna be nice. Anyway, I'm very, very stoked to see what happens. Your couch has no power here. While we get everything set up, I do kind of want to show this off, my wonderful Christmas present. Don't know how easy you guys can see it, but awesome backdrop. I love it. I really love it. Does look like we are about to get into game 2, which is not on a map I would have called. Welcome everybody to game 2 on Tomb of the Spider Queen. That's the wrong screen. That's the right screen. I set my hotkeys up wrong. Okay. Diablo ban. Very curious on Spider Queen. I'm not a huge fan of him here. I don't know if Couch has just a terrifying Diablo, or if there's just something I'm missing here. Another Chromie ban. Again, am I missing something here? I really feel like that's less of a weird ban here, to be fair. Her vision control is nothing to scoff at. And she's got a lot of it, and a lot of poke potential. So I can kind of see it here. Wasn't really seeing it in BOE. Johanna, it looks like we're seeing a bit of a tank choke coming out from the right team. Let's see if Couch jumps on that wagon and decides to choke out a tank of their own. Very curious. Or are we going to see something banned from the previous match? Something banned from the previous match. They did not like that Zul'jin. I wasn't a fan of that early pick Zul'jin, but apparently Couch is afraid of it. Now, Kael'thas on this map is nothing short of amazing. Him and Johanna are just amazing on this map because they can just blow up the wave and immediately fight the opponent trying to push them out of the wave. I'm very, very curious to see how the left team keeps up with this wave clear, because KT could just drop one ability and call it. ETC, okay. Greymane, so they're answering so far wave clear with Siege, so they can get way more value out of the objectives if they win it. Chromie destroys everything? Did she get a buff that I wasn't aware of? She must have. If you're saying Chromie destroys everything, she must have been buffed with something that I just don't know of. Hogger! Hogger and a Nubarak. Not sure I like Hogger with KT, I'm going to be honest. And I'm not sure I like Hogger on this map, also going to be honest. But I'm very curious to see how he is played. He is a massive, you're either really good or really bad with him. So if you play him in a tournament setting like this, yes, they're up 1 point, yes, they can afford to lose. But the question is this a risk for them? Or is this something they know in, out, and upside down? Because Hogger can get people out of the KT's circles. He can do all sorts of nasty things to his own team. Who is my favorite hero? Anduin. I freaking love Anduin. He is a CC machine, a healing machine, and he's able to completely shut down pick comps with one move, and it's great. Both of his ults are great. It's just, yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Anduin, both as a hero, as a character. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Anduin! I was just talking about you, my friend. Anduin, Thrall, Greymane, ETC. So this is a huge damage team. Huge damage team. Not a whole lot of survivability. Anduin's heals are really easy to predict and really easy to deal with. Really easy to disrupt as well. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of him. He cannot go Salvation here. Yeah, no, he cannot go Salvation here. Because there are four solid, easy-to-hit interrupts. And most of them would punish him, not just interrupt him. See, you can't give them that. So, okay. I see what they're doing here. I definitely see what they're doing here. So, for those of you who don't quite see what I see, what I'm seeing here is a solid pick and macro team. They're going to just try and take an occasional pick out of their opponents and use that to just control the map. And on top of that, they have huge damage to try and get that pick and to punish that pick. Every single time that Owls has one hero less than the left team, they're going to lose something. If this is played right, every single time Owls is missing any of their heroes, they lose something. Be that gems, be that an objective, be that a structure, be that a camp. They're going to lose something every single time. But the question is, can they get that opportunity? And we will find out now. So, welcome to the tomb of the Spider Queen! So, I don't remember the hotkey to turn on music. And that's gonna bug me. I apologize for the lack of background music. So, for the left side, we have Captain Wedge bringing the rock on ETC. We have Afish on Nazebo, Goliath on Thrall, Wild Cardi on Greymane, Lord Fable on Anduin. Oh, and I hit everybody. And for the right side, we have Corsair on the Beetle, Save on Cassia, Mohai on KT, Amador on Taranda, and Captain Magyar on the Knoll. May have forgotten his name for a second. I am thinking we're going to see another Slaughterfest to a certain extent. Now this I'm very curious about. KT offlaning against Thrall. This does not seem like a good idea, because KT does not have any self-healing. I don't even think he can talent into it. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. Shielding, yes. Okay, there we go. So Hogger is starting to get some work against Thrall, but losing a fair bit of health. We will have to see how that plays out in the future. Meanwhile, for the Double Soakers, the fact that the right team is ahead on Double Soak is a point that really doesn't need to be explained. It's just inevitable with how much wave clear they have. Am curious, Nazebo is already ahead on stacks, which is solid, and he's keeping up on his spiders. Big zombie wall trying to knock down Save. That's already quite a bit of damage. Now, they are still in the early game, and they have a stacking hero and a hero that requires another talent or two. So there we go, the first blood is drawn by the Thrall, and we're about to see whether or not it is too early for what I was talking about earlier. Does not look like it, as Save is being pushed very aggressively against a wall. But not wanting to miss out on any soak, they back off for the time being. That was quite a bit of damage, though. That could have easily led to a kill if she was not paying enough attention. So we will definitely have to see. Like I said, this is still very early. They don't quite have the tools they need in order to punish the deaths, but they're already finding them. And considering they don't really have the tools they need, every early death is going to be huge, especially in these 4v4 team fights. Does look like Hogger is having some issues against Thrall. He's getting his licks into. That might be even. Oh, right, yeah. I forgot about that. KT does heal from his trait if he talents for it. I doubt he will, though. Afish dropping very quickly. Big ETC peel. And KT goes down instead. And the wolf runs away. Blood in his fangs. I'm a big fan of wolves. Anyway. Another stun coming out. Unfortunately, the Chastise is not there to follow up. The zombie wall does not quite work out. And Afish does not seem willing to drop his walls, even with an ally rubbing his face against them. We do see the first turn-in available for the left team, and an XP lead. They're about to hit 7s. The question is, can they take advantage of this? Unfortunately, though, with Thrall going down, Hogger being very full health, there's not a whole lot that can be done right now. And the right team also has a turn-in, so we are likely going to see a big fight coming out sometime soon. Unfortunately, Thrall is just now getting up. So this is not exactly going to be an advantageous fight when it comes out. Failed combo almost leads to an Anduin kill, though. If they can nail that combo, that'll be nasty. That'll be very nasty. I am very curious about these Anduin Chastises. That's a very useful tool on a very long cooldown. Blue Web Weavers do manage to get the turn-in from the bottom point, and thanks to the poke from the Greymane. That Chastise made sense. Sorry, I'm going to chastise the Chastises because I love Anduin. Captain Moyer is going down very quickly. Big pull coming out to save the Greymane. I don't think it was entirely needed, but it was definitely saved his life if they got another CC on him. Let's see how they take advantage of these Web Weavers. With all this macro pressure, even though this is a small map, this map can really benefit a macro-minded team. Anduin, though, being a tad too aggressive, does go down. That is one of the risks with playing Anduin. You end up pushing yourself just a little too far, and you gotta play safer than you think. Now, unfortunately, Greymane's not able to get this siege as he doesn't have a team with him, so he's not able to really take advantage of his abilities. However, Hogger is punished for pretty much doing nothing and gets taken down, unable to trade with his opponents. Red team does still have a turn-in, and with no structures down, the first turn-in did not get a whole lot of value. The question is, can blue team stall for another 10 gems before red team turns in? They have quite a bit of poke, especially with Nazeebo. Nazeebo has a lot of zoning and poke potential. But I don't think it'll be enough. And there go the red web weavers being turned in also from the bottom point. But they are fighting against 10s, which usually means a wasted web weaver phase. We'll have to see if they can get 10s fast enough to keep it from being a wasted web weaver phase, or if they can somehow manage to pull out a pick. However, they do get their 10s, and their 10s are arguably more important than the left teams. So we may see a turn in the momentum here, especially with that mid camp. Captain Wedge, though, doing a lot of tank zoning, keeping the opponents from being able to come in wherever they want. But it's not really going to be enough, especially now that the Phoenix is down, continually poking at them while they try and clear. Anduin's going to do what he can to stay in this fight. I am curious what build he's going. I hate Binding Heal. I hate it. I will fight you on Binding Heal. It's just mechanically Anyway, unfortunately the stun completely shuts down the light bomb. That light bomb could have easily turned this web weaver phase into a total waste, but unfortunately wasn't able to. Thrall is losing the bot lane though. Not really able to do much, except potentially kill kill the Knoll. Poor Hogger. This does mean though blue team does have a turn-in now. And with Hogger down, now is the time to try and push for it. Even with their waves pushed against them, Thrall will push up bottom, try and get an XP lead with Hogger not there. And we are seeing the turn-ins already starting. That's 10 more gems required, and Thrall has more than enough to complete it. And there's no one to stop him. However, A-Fish is being picked up on the top lane, Wedge eating a fair bit of CC, and spreading the bomb. These blue web weavers can very easily get a lot of value here. Thrall not really in a good position to face Hogger. I guess he has his minions. We will have to see. Oh no, yeah, he's being very aggressive. Unfortunately, Cassia is coming in to try and ruin his life. Correction, is ruining his life. But the question is, what do they lose for that kill? Because they almost lost KT there, and there's a completely uncontested push going out in the top lane, and I need to take a sip of water. All of the 7s aren't great, but the shield is definitely the best one. Big light bomb coming out, completely disrupting that back line. Unfortunately, no follow-up coming out, and Wedge almost went down, but instead burns the leap of faith. And there goes the Greymane. Leap of faith probably wouldn't have saved him there, though, to be fair. However, even with the 2 deaths, they still have XP lead and took down a fort. Even though the other team does have a turn-in, this map is very much on the in Couch's favor right now. I have lost the ability to speak. Enemy team is caught separate, but they weren't really able to take advantage of that, unfortunately. But they are going to keep pushing onto this fort a little bit. That is going to drop it down to about half health. Now, if you're tracking Nazebo right now, he's got quite a few stacks. Anduin being caught quite a bit. Light Bomb does go off even if you're in a cocoon, but the cocoon is likely going to lead to his death. Question is, big mosh! And Tyranda's interrupt was on CD there for a moment. Unfortunately, just not enough damage to take advantage of it. Even though it was a hugely, hugely successful mosh, nothing really was able to come of it. And with 2 dead, specifically a tank and healer, this turn-in is probably going to be pretty rough, especially with that top boss being picked up. Middle camp will alleviate the pressure in middle and potentially take that fort if Greymane is gutsy. And he almost... he might be gutsy enough to finish that fort off before this boss gets finished. That's going to be tough. This boss and Webweaver, that pretty much guarantees them a keep unless they mess something up big. And they're not planning on messing anything up big. This is a huge push coming through the top lane. A Nubarak trying desperately to get the stun out. However, Tyrande gets the stun out. Cocoon completely shutting down the healer for the time being. Greymane trying to stay alive. Light Bomb completely shutting down 2 members. EDZ does manage to get out, and does manage to not die by the living bomb. However, even though they won this fight, they lost this war so far, because this is a huge push and a boss still pushing in. And the red team, as I was just about to say, is able and willing to come in at any point in time. They do decide to back out, however, simply taking the trade. They are ahead 16s now. That keep is completely exposed. Another turn in, and that keep is going to be in quite a bit of danger. Even though Couch has the macro lead, they aren't able to, the superior macro, they are not able to stay alive quite long enough to take advantage of it, especially not with these camps being picked up and these turn-ins being placed so aggressively for the red team. Now, it does look like blue team is trying to figure out a move here, but I'm honestly not sure what the best move for them is, aside from just standing back and trying to clear. If they manage to hit 20, Nazebo is going to become a major threat. But at this point, I'm not sure the game is going to last that long, unless they can pull out a victory. Phoenix does go out, doing more than a little bit of damage. The camp is finished off, not fully taking the front wall, and blue team now has a turn-in. Unfortunately, they need to alleviate some of this pressure, or this turn-in is just going to stabilize them. Question is it worth them trying to turn in for the stabilization? They argue, yes. Question is, can they find anyone to pick? And it doesn't look like they are. KT is jumping in. Unfortunately, the cocoon keeps Anduin alive for a little bit. Living Bomb does go out to try and finish the KT. The Invis completely shutting down Greymane, who's desperately trying to get out. I thought I heard a mosh pit, but it looks like it's on a short cooldown. And that is a fight win for the right team, but no deaths are found. No resources except Living Bomb, which will be up any second pretty much. Burned. Both teams do have a turn-in, though, which means this next fight win is potentially the most important fight win so far in this game. And they can't contest it. And there's the red turn-in with the minions pushed up and the camp invade already about to come out from the red team, scaring them off the only hope they had of equalizing some of this pressure. This is going to be a very tough defense, but the question is, can they get a pick? They need a pick, otherwise they lose potentially all 3 keeps, and likely more than that, especially if one of them go down. Fair bit of aggression coming out from both sides. Hogger going in a little deeper than he probably wanted to. Stun does go down to try and shut down ETC, who's dropping fairly quickly. The pressure is alleviated in the middle lane, but it's already hitting this top lane. Greymane doing everything he can to try and kill the spider. And it's just not quite going down fast enough, as red team does manage to force a little bit of a fight there. However, it did go down just fast enough to prevent anything major. But the question is, can bottom lane get any value? Does not look like it. Blue team now trying to look for a fight. They desperately need one before their opponents hit 20 in order to try and stabilize this match for their 20s. They also have a turn-in. They can't afford to lose a single one of those gems, really. Hogger goes down very quickly, but no follow-up onto him due to the unstoppable and the invisible, just disrupting them slightly enough. They probably could have kept the pressure on him, but backed off, not wanting to dive too deep. They did manage to win a fight under their keep, but did lose the keep in the process. Meaning, overall, the fight probably was more of a win for the opposing side. Tank is not in a position to save anyone here, meaning, yep, and there goes the Nazebo. And with that Cocoon, Anduin is likely next. He does manage to save himself, and Nubarak does go down, being just a tad too aggressive under the opposing keep. Couch doesn't have the wave clear for this map. Yeah, no. I thought Nazebo was going to be able to keep up enough, but he's been focused a lot on stacking and not a lot on clearing, which, to be fair, has led him to 240 stacks, but not a whole lot of pressure alleviation. Now, if they can get this turn in, they can equalize some of this pressure and stall for the 20s they so desperately need at this point. But they almost seem not willing to fight, even if they get 20s mid-fight. They have 20s now, though. They have to try and get into this fight. Light Bomb, unfortunately, is not able to stop the Unstoppable. That Living Bomb, though, is getting quite a bit of value. At this tier, I didn't think it would, but these fights are just barely hectic enough that they're not able to communicate who has Living Bomb on them. And this KT is just good enough to keep that Living Bomb out there constantly. Again, making it very difficult to determine who it's on when. This is a tough matchup. I think the 20s are more in favor of the left side, but the question is, can they punish this aggression here? Thrall does manage to sneak out of that terrible situation barely. The Cocoon shutting down the mosh pit. Unfortunately, Anduin was completely cut off from his team, not giving me a chance to drink, and also getting caught out. There's too much going on. Both teams are far too aggressive. I don't get a chance to breathe. Unfortunately, though, with this boss play from the Yellow Owls, This is going to be a very tough situation. Even without a turn-in to back it up, a boss play onto a mostly dead keep at 20 minutes? A 20-minute boss takes some serious work to take out. Luckily, though, this turn-in will alleviate the other lanes, allowing the blue team to focus solely on shutting down this boss, as well as clearing the top lane minions, meaning that it is only a boss pushing through the top lane. Fortunately, however, the boss is able to basically one-shot the Web Weaver, but the timing worked out just enough to mean the boss is completely alone on this keep. And with Greymane's single target, I think they should be able to save their keep. And they are. Pretty much wasted turn-in, but it did keep them in this game. Even though they weren't able to get anything with it, they may have bought themselves another chance. I always forget what the ult upgrade for Toronto does. Oh, yeah, reveals all enemies and heals for more. It does seem like Red Team is looking for a fight here. Not really a whole lot to be won here. Big mosh pit coming out, followed immediately by a light bomb. Everybody's getting bounced around, but ETC and Cassia go down. That means that there's not a whole lot of damage left on the right team, forcing them to disengage. And that's only 4 more gems required for a blue team double turn-in. They may actually be able to get something with this turn-in, with 2 of their opponent's major wave clear sources being completely out of the game. One more gem is all they need. And here it comes from Greymane. The Owl should be off on a cooldown, so there's no Tyrande poke. The waves are almost equalized. 20 seconds until KT's up. They may actually be able to get enough value with this Webweaver phase to stay in this match. We will have to see. Does look like the push is going to the mid lane. Does make sense, especially with their camp to back them up. Shutting down that KT spell damage is not a bad idea, as well as shutting down the stun damage from Tyrande. Pressure is mounting in the other lanes in favor of the blue team. However, their wave is already basically gone as KT is back up and ready for a fight. Living Bomb is getting spread around a little bit. Did he go infinite spread? He went infinite spread. I have a friend who would say words to him. I don't think in this scenario it's a terrible idea, considering how much that bomb has been being spread and how good he is with it. But we will have to see. Did the Anubarak go rewind? Yes. Oh, did he go Torbust against rewind? Yes. Yep. I'm not a huge fan of it either, but yep. It got value in that last fight. I can't deny that. Does look like we're going to see a bit of an engage from the blue team. After their last few wins, they want just another fight win. Looks like red team's a little gun shy, especially since they're not in a position to really fight this. Neither side has a turn in. Red team is close. I'm really not sure how the rest of this match plays out. Fair bit of aggression coming out from both sides so far. Pressure is on blue team's side. And they're hanging out in the only lane that the catapults are not in their, are against them specifically. Not sure what that light bomb was meant to stun. I didn't see anyone nearby, but it may have just been trying to stop and engage. Mosh Pit does go out onto the opposing team. Cocoon as well. ETC did go down. Big Sunder completely shutting down that Cocoon setup. Nubrak winch is a little too deep, not able to be backed up. Hogger moving weirdly. Can he change the direction with a talent? Ah. That's an interesting 20. That's a very interesting 20. Not sure if I like it, but it's interesting nonetheless. KT is fairly alone right now, but not really enough setup to lock him down. Goliath trying to stay alive. He does manage to blank out, but Anduin is not doing too hot himself. Speed of the Pious is able to keep him alive. Aphemish, though, is now the next target, and does manage to stay alive just a little bit with Ice Block, but does get targeted and blown up. Honestly, I think that's a favorable trade. Unfortunately, though, the pressure did go for the red team in the top lane, and they lost a keep for it. Red team's going for that bottom camp. Meanwhile, blue team picks up their mid camp. Once again, just trying to alleviate some of that pressure that red team has been building constantly. We've not really seen enough of a win yet to decide a winner. Though blue team is definitely backed into a corner. I will say, I disagree with a lot of these talent choices. Oh, that's Hunter's Blunderbuss. I thought that was the Wolf talent at that tier. ETC is going down. Does manage to get pulled out. But that's not going to be enough to be... Yeah, it's not going to be a setup. Unfortunately, blue team does need to answer this pressure in the bottom lane, but they also need to stop their opponents from turning in. This is going to put them in a very awkward position, and now the turn-in is there with the enemy team being in a really solid fight position. With that keep down, Web Weaver's descending. Blue team has to fall back to their core and hope and pray their opponents make a major mistake. Can they try and alleviate these other lanes while keeping their opponents off? Not sure. Thrall did go down right away. That is a fair bit of their wave clear and pressure alleviation. They also do not have Leap of Faith. ETC not in the best position. I'm pretty sure his slide, never mind. Now it's on cooldown. He is going down quite a bit. The pull does come out probably right as soon as it comes off cooldown, but that is 3 Web Weavers on core. GG's called as the core is 100 to 0'd in about 4 seconds. There we go. Updated the summary. GG's indeed. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get an interview. All right. Looks like we got ourselves an interview. So I'm just waiting on them. There we go. That's where I wanted to go. Wanted to show the final setup while we go into our interview. I need to move my windows around. I did not plan properly. Anyway, yeah, that was a solid match. Even with it being 2-0, they were both pretty close games. They were both really close games, honestly. Nope, they need 1 second. Okay, that's fine. Oh. Okay. So, yeah. As you guys can see, I didn't really get a chance to talk about it too much. Why are the blue team bands not showing up? Hello! There we go. So, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. Appreciate you for casting our game. That's pretty cool.
Not a problem. Very glad to get to cast. I'm pretty sure the first Division B match of the season.
Very cool.
But yeah, so how were you guys feeling going into... Yeah, let's just start with Game 1. How are you guys feeling going into Game 1? I know you guys are a newer team.
Yeah, we're really new. We felt pretty good. We didn't really know what to expect, to be honest, because, like I said, we're new to this whole HOTS thing. I mean, like coming back to it. You know, we haven't played in a long time, but with the announcement of all these new leagues coming up, we were like jumping on the chance to do it. So we do our little practice and scrims but we were glad that we got a smaller map in Game 1 because I feel like we're more team fight oriented.
Yeah,
So
no,
we like to, we just like to fight a lot and not worry about getting cheesed by objectives.
You know, it was a slugfest. It was definitely two brawl teams against each other. Like, you guys were both definitely fight-centric. So I was a little curious about the draft Game 1. You guys drafted a lot of CC and not a lot of damage. I'm kind of wondering what your thought process was going into that, especially in comparison to Game 2, where you drafted not as much CC.
Yeah, well, our one of our biggest philosophies in drafting is the whole stuns win games. So we were like, hey, this first game, let's just make sure a lot of us have stuns. And like I said, we'd like to team fight, so let's see what we can do. And then it just played out like that. I like having Durotan too with the big demons because you can mark them if you want to burn them quickly. And we were basically relying on Zul'jin to do all of our damage. Just got to keep him up. And
yeah, very fair, very fair. That was something else I did want to mention. The Zul'jin. It's very, very rare that you see a Zul'jin picked first. He's a bit of a risky pick. The other team didn't really take too much advantage of that risky pick, but I'm just kind of curious, like, why do something that risky right out of the gate, your first match in NGS, and you go with something that risky?
Well, Not gonna lie, in our eyes, we're thinking, oh man, Zul'jin seems to be like one of the hot picks. So if no one bans him and they don't, and we got first pick, let's go ahead and use it as our first pick. So we honestly thought that he was gonna be one of the major picks of the league, but also I think our drafter was saying that he's really good at burning the big the angel.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. He's solid. He's just really easy to punish, and you guys got very lucky.
Yeah, that's just us getting lucky. Then.
Yeah, that was a really risky play, especially like coming straight out of basically just practice against, I'm assuming, completely uncoordinated teams.
For sure.
Yeah, that's.
We figured with the Tehran pick especially that nobody's gonna touch her at all, like with ban or pick. So we were gonna save that for last pick. But we honestly thought that Zul'jin was gonna be like the Zul'jin and Cassia. We thought that those were gonna be the two damage, the two DPS of the games.
Fair enough. I've not followed the meta as much as I'd like to, so there might have been something that happened to them that I'm not aware of that makes that more the case since I last followed it. But yeah.
For sure. Yeah, we're learning. We're learning the meta as well as our own meta. We're just trying to.
Yeah, no, you guys are on the tail end of where player skill is more important than meta, like 90% of the time. You're at the point where meta is starting to become a lot more necessary than just picking what you're comfortable with.
Right.
But yeah, so, you were very glad to have Broly maps. How did it feel to have a full-out slugfest? Because again, you're newer to NGS, so you've never gone up against a team that specializes in just flat-out fighting. And both of you guys, the way you were playing, the way you were acting, you guys were both focused on just fight. So I'm just kind of curious what the thought process was, what the comms were like, those constant team fights.
Right. I mean, we welcome it. I'm so glad that they were, that they gave us our like almost what we wanted. That's the kind of game that we hope to have every time. Like, we don't want to have a game where we have to chase around, the objectives or get, But to be honest, the comms, a lot of it was go, but of course we were worried about our solo laner, making sure that he wasn't getting ganked, and other than that, we were pretty much on go mode the whole game. So, running at.
Sorry, yeah, the one other question that I had going on through my mind was, how did it feel when they almost had a nasty comeback game 2? Like that was close.
Oh yeah, that was scary. To be honest, even in game 1, we thought we had the comeback, and then in game 2 we were like, oh god, they're doing it to us now. But that team, there was a few team fights that we were able to turn it without letting ETC get off of a mosh pit.
Yeah,
that was pretty clutch. The KT lifts on those were pretty clutch.
Every time he went in, I felt like he was flying. Like, that just... You guys were really solid there. Your KT player really knew his living bombs.
He was right, yeah. He was on point with those.
But yeah, that's it for my questions. Doesn't look like the chat has thrown out any questions. So I just wanted to open the floor out for you for shoutouts.
Shout out to my team. Captain Mag, everybody, Save, Corsair, Mahaya, appreciate y'all, and shout out to you guys for even having this league. Shout out to chat, shout out to the whole HOTS community, Twitch, everybody.
Well, thank you very much. Glad your first game in NGS was a win. I was very quietly rooting for you when I found out that you were a brand new team. It always feels good to start out a competitive life with a win.
Yes, it feels very good, very good. But
So,
I
yeah.
appreciate you.
Hopefully I'll see you around.
All right.
Good luck in your future games.
Yes, sir.
So unfortunately, that has to conclude it for tonight. I almost wanted to do a double header, but pretty much all of the matches were scheduled at the same time, and I'm actually glad that I didn't after that slugfest. I'm tired. So, but yeah, so thank you all very much for joining me on this lovely night with this lovely match and my brand new setup, dealing with all of my technical issues with a new setup. Yeah, so thank you all. I will hopefully see you all. Oh, did want to mention, I am planning on trying to cast every Tuesday. Probably more than that, but every Tuesday is my goal for pulling off a cast, so I'm at least getting once a week. So if you're interested, go ahead and drop a follow, which I would thank you for, so that you know anyone that I'm not doing Tuesday. If you're not 100% sure, then just pop by next Tuesday, see if you like it once I find my rhythm more. But like I said, I'm glad to see you all around, and good luck in your matches.